Welcome back to WRPL. It's the podcast where we talk about all the things we were watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
How's it going, Steve?
I'm doing well, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing well. Personally, I'm okay. Nationally, it's been a kind of a crazy week. But this is not that type of podcast.
Sometimes you make it.
I know, but I'm going to bite my tongue. We just talk movies and comics and TV and video games and all things consumed.
And sometimes a CD or two.
And every once in a while. Or like just, a nice sunset that maybe you experienced, Your eyes consume it. It counts.
I haven't seen a sunset in a long time. Do we still have sunsets?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
We're not deemed illegal or anything like that.
Not yet.
Not yet. Give it time. Like how I always love starting off shows with a roll.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
I almost forgot it again.
1, 2, and a 3. That is a 9. I gotta stop. I gotta move this cord. I hit it every time.
Yeah. All right. 10.
9 and 10. Ooh,
okay.
rough one.
All right. Well, what I was gonna say is how I always started off with deaths. R.I.P. Shannon Doherty. I don't know if you care much about Shannon Doherty because 90210 was probably a little after.
I care about human
beings,
but a specific person, celebrity, not so much.
Yeah. There's a special place for Shannon Doherty in my heart. 90210 was kind of a big deal for my sisters, and so I watched it a lot, and we kind of had like an opposite of what they went through. They were people from the Midwest moving to California, and we were Californians moving to the Midwest. There was a kinship there in a way.
So did she play the 9 or the 2 or the 1? I never saw the show.
No, actually, the people aren't numbered. No, that's the area code.
Interesting.
I did not know that. I'm sorry. That's the zip code, not the area code.
Understood. Sorry.
Yeah. So R.I.P. Shannon Doherty, 53, breast cancer. That stinks. I want to say up top, we don't have a lot of viewers or listeners.
We do.
Followers. We get about like 1 like, 2 likes per posting.
And one of them's me.
And it's you. But one of our last episodes, the Maxine and Kill episode, got a downvote.
Oh, no.
Someone didn't like it, and I'd like to know why. So
there's probably valid reasons why.
I'm sure there is, but and it's probably something I said that I was mouthy about or whatever. But like, if you were the person that downvoted that, just an explanation. You don't need to take it away. Put it in the comments of this episode or that episode, and just say like, "Hey, I don't like your stupid fucking voice," or whatever the hell it was. But make me sad.
I'll double check to make sure it wasn't just me.
On accident? No, because it did have like 2 upvotes and 1 downvote. I'm like, wow, that's very surprising. Okay.
That's like 33% of our viewership.
I have a correction from, I think it was our last episode. Yes, Ridley Scott is directing Gladiator 2.
Okay.
I was wrong. I'll eat that crow.
Thank you.
I just figured he was doing something else, and he was too busy for it. But he loves going back to as well, I guess, now.
I mean, if he's not doing Alien Romulus, then he's doing Gladiator 2.
It makes sense. Speaking of Alien Romulus, they released the Alien popcorn bucket.
Mm-hmm.
It looks amazing. I can't wait to get one. It's just an alien head. It's so cool. I don't have an alien head. I have a pretty cool face hugger plush and a whole bunch of different figures, but I don't have like an alien head. I have a cool little queen alien bust, but it's a little small. This is a little bit bigger, but it looks cool as shit.
If you say so.
You don't think it looks cool?
I just don't get enjoyment from eating out of a Killer Monsters skull.
Sure.
I mean, at least that one, like, I understand it's an iconic shaped head.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see that thing and you're like, okay, I know this is the alien head or the xenomorph head if you're a fucking nerd. But I think there's other skulls I would much rather eat out of.
Top 3 skulls you'd like to eat out of.
If they re-released Temple of Doom in theaters, I like to eat out of a monkey's head bucket.
The culturally insensitive scene of or pretty much that whole movie, but I guess if you had to pick a thing from Indiana Jones, what else are you eating out of? I guess the idol. They probably would just do the idol from the
Mm,
first one, you know? Or
poss-
or it would be the Ark, you know? That's
oh,
not a cool thing to have, I don't think,
yeah.
on your shelf, but
I mean, Ark of the Covenant's kind of cool looking.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What about a crystal skull alien head? Is that cool enough to eat popcorn out of?
You know what? Yeah, as long as like the popcorn goes to the very bottom of the skull, so it kind of like fills it
It's
up.
big.
Yeah, so
And you have to
it's
put
not
your
just like
mouth on its mouth like you're making out in order to eat the popcorn, like it's a feed bag, like you're a
yeah.
horse.
If all three of my skulls are just from the Indiana Jones franchise, I'm fine with that.
Okay, okay.
Um, or any really Spielberg thing, like you know.
You don't want to like a Mount Doom or anything like that, or well, I'm sure
Oh,
you do.
that would. I mean, as long as it comes with a function where like it's got a little motor in it to kind of
Uh-huh.
like make the popcorn like erupt a little bit out
Okay,
of it. I don't want to like shoot it out of there or whatever,
sure.
but just kind of
A
like
little rumbling.
a little rumbling. It's like,
Okay.
oh look, I you know give it a little action, not just oh it's just a bucket.
Okay. I never said what our main topic was. We're going to talk about The Boys season 4 and Twisters. We already went over Twisters days ago. It feels like such an ancient thing,
But I can't wait to
but
talk
we're
about it
going to do
again.
it again. Uh, there were a bunch of releases announced for 2026.
Okay.
And I saw this Instagram post that just showed two of them, and I'm gonna make you pick. Do you want this one or that one? Some of them are easier than others. I did this to Nick. We pretty much had the same idea. So,
Okay.
2026 releases. Do you want to have Toy Story 5 or Shrek 5?
Fuck, I don't want either. Toy Story 5, because even
You could come back a little.
I would say Toy Story 5, because I don't think there's a bad Toy Story movie where
True.
there's bad Shrek movies.
Yep.
So I would
But now
say,
with Puss in Boots, maybe like they changed Shrek up enough to actually make it good.
I just feel like the continuation of Toy Story stories generally is made out of love, where the continuation of Shrek stories is we need to make more money.
Yeah.
And
And
this
what
feel
sort of fantasy fairy tale thing have we not mined to death yet?
Yeah, and this just kind of feels like, well, we need an IP that'll definitely generate money, and Shrek over the past decade has been a growing meme. So let's just go back to that well, where at least with Toy Story, it never quite ended.
Yeah.
I mean, like they made it recently enough, and it did well enough that it like kind of makes sense.
How do you think this is going to work? Woody bailed on everybody. You know, he let all of them go, and he stayed behind. I know the story is Andy is trying to find his old toys again to give to his kid, and
Hmm.
I'm sure that's I found all of them, but where's Woody? Oh, and he's going on a hunt. Ooh, maybe he finds a different Woody, and it has a totally different personality, and Tom Hanks gets to do a different Woody.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That'd be kind of fun. Okay, well, correct. Toy Story 5. Dune Messiah or The Batman 2?
Dune Messiah or the Batman 2? Batman 2, I have enjoyed the Dune films for the most part, but if they never made another one, I wouldn't be upset. Where, like,
Yeah.
they've made a million Batman
Uh
films,
huh. Yep.
and I like them all. Even the worst ones that are like,
It's
this is bad,
it's still
I still like it.
Batman.
Yeah, it's still Batman.
Yeah. Are you excited for the Dune TV series? You gonna watch that?
Maybe. I don't know if I care.
All
I don't have the time.
right. Correct. Frozen 3 or Super Mario Brothers movie 2?
Super Mario Brothers movie 2.
Correct.
Because I
Because
enjoyed
Frozen sucks, and especially part 2. It's a really bad movie.
Well, I'm indifferent to the Frozen franchise, but I think that there's so much lore and things to explore in the Mario world that we haven't gotten to see yet,
Yeah.
versus the Frozen world, which I kind of feel like
It's
we
tapped.
it might be tapped. Like
Yeah.
that's an original story that you can do whatever with.
Sure.
But I'm not excited to see. Like Disney just makes a lot of the same like stuff, or
Yeah.
at least when they have an IP or characters or whatever, they just have those characters do the same stuff over and over again. So Frozen, I'm indifferent to the Frozen franchise. I don't hate it, but I'd much rather see Super Mario stuff.
Correct. All right, Avengers Kang Dynasty or whatever that movie will become.
Okay.
Not Secret Wars. or The Mandalorian and Grogu? Two of your favorite things, Marvel movies and Star Wars movies.
I don't give a shit about Mando and Grogu movie. God, I can't speak. So I would rather see the Avengers thing, because even if the Mando movie is decent and the Avengers movie is bad, I kind of want to see the shipwreck that movie would be.
Yeah,
But I'm not excited for either one. But I'll wait for a trailer before I make judgments on either one.
I would also say correct. Fast and Furious 11 or The Hunt for Gollum?
Jesus. It's of course it's Hunt for Gollum,
Yeah.
because if you've seen Fast and Furious 11, you saw the first 10,
Yep.
and I don't mean that like, oh, you saw 10 movies, so you're excited for the. I just mean like,
You know exactly.
no matter what this is, you've seen it.
Yeah.
Where the Hunt for Gollum, it could be the video game, which is an abomination, or it could be kind of cool and interesting and do something different and see some shit we haven't seen before. So I will always give Middle Earth a chance. Go watch Rings of Power, because Rings of Power Season 2 is starting soon.
I think The Hunt for Gollum is a story that we don't need, but we haven't needed most of the Fast and Furious movies. But I am kind of interested in where else are they going to take it? How much more ridiculous? And is it going to live up to some of the glory days of when they start getting ridiculous, or are they're too self-aware now?
Yeah.
So I would say correct. Hunt for Gollum is probably going to just be technically a better made movie.
Yeah, and I think that I don't love the title, because it makes it sound like a Gollum movie, where I think it's going to be
An Aragon movie?
Yeah, it's going to be other characters in this big world, and Gollum is just like the focal point of the story, but isn't, or the cause of the story, but it's not really like the main focus. Because like of all the characters that you could pull from Middle Earth, like Gollum's very interesting in the Lord of the Rings, but he's not a character I want to follow outside of that story per se.
Yeah, and he doesn't interact with a lot of people. Like him, with I would say between Bilbo and Frodo, he probably saw no one. You know, like didn't interact with anybody. So what do you do with a character? It's not like he's going into town and he has to put a wig on or something and like buy his bread.
Just look like E.T. on Halloween.
Yes, exactly.
That'd be funny. I'd watch that comedy movie.
All right. The next Star Wars movie, whatever it is, I think it's going to be part of the saga.
The Skywalker saga?
Sure. But I think it's going to be a Rey movie. She's a bit older doing this thing. But
Rey Skywalker.
Yes, you know, the Skywalker that we all know. Rey Skywalker, yes. So the next Star Wars movie or Avatar 3?
Avatar 3.
Yeah?
Yeah. I talk a lot of shit on Star Wars, but not from a place of like, I hate Star Wars. Like, I enjoy Star Wars as a thing overall. But Avatar 2, I didn't have a ton of faith in, but really enjoyed Avatar 2. And I think even though it's kind of a similar movie, I still had a good time and showed me some new stuff and visually very appealing. And I just want to see what else James Cameron has to do. You know, there was rumors of like lava Avatar people or whatever. It's like, that sounds fucking cool.
It's funny that
I don't know.
It's called Avatar and it has nothing to do with The Last Airbender, but he's still going with the elements, you know?
Yeah.
This one, they're kind of similar where they came back after so many years, and it felt like a retread of the previous thing. I still like Force Awakens. There's still problems with it, but it is a retread. Avatar 2 is a retread, but it's still a really good, interesting, and good-looking movie. But both of these have opportunities to, okay, you've done your thing now. Now do something different. Now really push it and try something. But I would pick Star Wars just because I am a fan of that world more than the world of Avatar. But I definitely want to see both. So I'm going to say wrong.
But even so, with Star Wars doing something different, I feel like, do you think in the recent years that they've really done anything different, or it starts out different and then just molds itself back into the main thing? Because it's like, The Mandalorian started as like, oh, check it out, it's Star Wars but a Western, and like Star Wars has had those elements before, but this is kind of like, oh no, this is our space Western, and now it's just kind of molded back into the like
Luke Skywalker and Darksabers and the Empire. They have a problem with really letting loose, and we'll talk about that later.
Okay. But at least with Avatar, it might be a retread, but it's only been 2 movies, so I think there's more chances for like new things.
Yeah.
And also,
because if it's the same thing as the last one, we're like, no, there's a fire beast and it gets killed and we're just hitting the same beats again.
yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, the overall message of those movies is like
love nature
and stuff. But at least I respected Avatar 2 from going, okay, well, the first one we told a human story. Now we're half human, half avatars. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Navi.
Yeah.
I keep calling them avatars. Where this one, I like that a big portion of the movie, it wasn't about Jake Sully and Atiri. It was about their kids.
Yeah.
That was an interesting take.
Sure.
So I'll give it to Avatar.
All right. Speaking of avatars, we have Aang, The Last Airbender, the movie where they're still together, but they're grown up now.
Okay.
Or...
Is that an official thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And from the original creators, too. So,
Animated or live action?
Animated, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just telling a story that's in between, before Katara. There's a picture here of, them looking a bit older. Or TMNT Mutant Mayhem 2, whatever that's called.
Tough call, because I do love the turtles.
Yeah, turtles are good.
I'm going to give this one to Avatar,
Okay.
because what I want from Turtles is to go in, like, let me see that Last Ronin live animated adaptation. Let me see.
But they're still kids. I don't want those turtles to grow up. There's enough adventures for them to do while they're still young, and you can still make that Ronin, Last Ronin.
I'm not saying I don't want that. Are we talking about this just doesn't exist, or just what I would prefer to see?
It's of these two. It's the sequel to Mutant Mayhem.
Right.
It's not the Last Ronin movie or game or whatever. Okay.
But in this exercise that we're doing, am I eliminating ever seeing the other one, or am I just saying...
It's just one or the other. You're picking one.
That can still exist.
They come out on the same day, and you can only go see one.
Then I'll probably see Avatar.
Okay. All right. Wrong. But...
I liked Mutant Mayhem more than I think other people did. But
and I didn't super love Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more Turtles, whereas with this Airbender thing, okay, they'll have a conflict, they'll stop it, Aang and Korra will smooch, or Katara, I'm sorry, and, it's like, we know where these people end up.
Sure, I just think seeing this group together in a different setting... And if you told a very interesting story, I could see it being a better film than the Ninja Turtles one. Even if the Ninja Turtles one is a little bit more fun, maybe.
Sure.
But
they could be kind of goofy, whereas
I would want to see it. I don't think I would want to see a trilogy of grown-up Avatar Aang stories.
No.
I could see a bunch of Ninja Turtle movies. But if we're just talking one possibly good, interesting thing versus a thing that will probably just keep going on forever.
Sure, because it has been.
Then I'll give it to the one. Give it a shot.
No, that's a good point. And they're also very well written and always have a little more something to say. They're a little deeper than just like, whoa, bacon,
pizza,
egg, and cheese.
ninjas.
Yeah. All right,
go ninja,
and
go ninja, go.
Best for last, the most, this is important. This is a hard pick.
This is fun. I like this game.
Prince of Persia, the Sands of Time movie.
Animated or live action?
Do not know.
Okay.
And Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping.
I enjoyed the Hunger Games books, and I enjoyed the Hunger Games movies. I have not seen the newest one, Songbirds and whatever.
It's pretty good.
Which is what I heard. Prince of Persia, I dabbled in the games a little bit in my youth. I haven't played one in a long time. I did see the Prince of Persia movie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Mm-hmm.
Don't remember it, but remember going, this is not good.
I remember watching that and go, damn, they made a good video game movie. But then thinking of, well, I guess compared to everything, it's the best video game movie at that time. But actually, I don't think that's even true. I think Silent Hill came out before that.
So simply because I haven't entered the world of Prince of Persia enough, part of me wants to go, well, let me see what that is.
Yeah.
But another part of me is I don't care. So I'm going to go Hunger Games because that's been consistently good books and consistently good movies.
Yeah.
So I could just see more of that world.
Correct. I think this is the Haymitch episode of the
Yeah.
Hunger Games.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so that's what we have to look forward to 2026. So that's pretty cool.
Can't wait for all those original ideas.
Yep, nothing like a bunch of sequels and remakes and reboots, but most of those are all just sequels. But okay, that was fun. All right, I'm gonna start with the
Okay.
things consumed. This will be short and sweet. There is a Little Debbie cookies and cream brownie that I saw. Maybe this has been around for a long time, but it stood out on the shelf and yuck. One of the grossest things Little Debbie has ever done. Their brownies are so dense and flavorless. It was really gross. And my roommate asked me today, like, to rank my Little Debbie stuff because she saw a post of it, and she was saying like her favorite is the oatmeal cream pie, and I don't give a shit about oatmeal cream pie. I think they're too greasy, they're too wet, they're too soft. I would say the peanut butter bars, the wafer bars, that's probably my
Interesting.
favorite.
Okay.
What would you say is your favorite Little Debbie?
Probably the strawberry shortcakes.
Yeah, those were she poo pooed that, and I liked
Really?
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that they're better than the regular roll, the Swiss roll,
The Swiss
whatever
roll,
they're called.
yeah.
Yeah,
There was like maybe 6 months where I got real into the Swiss rolls, and then just kind of felt like, you know what, I feel gross eating these
yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
Where like little the strawberry shortcakes, I never feel bad
They
about.
feel a little lighter, you
Yeah,
know.
it's like kind of just a fun treat at the end of the day.
It's a bit of fruit, you
I do
know.
like the oatmeal cream pies, but they are greasy. They are a little wet. But I mean, I do like the softness. That's what I
Yeah.
like about them. But I think for me, I can forgive all that. The flavor is a little bit weak for me. I think that's kind of like a mid tier.
Yeah,
I think all Little Debbie snacks are pretty much mid tier or
yeah.
low tier. Uh,
I'm a Hostess guy.
but when it comes to the strawberry shortcakes, a younger version of me would probably go zebra cakes.
Yeah, zebra cakes are pretty
As
good,
my
especially
number
like the Christmas
two,
tree
maybe
ones.
oatmeal number three.
Okay, I like the Star Crunch. I think those are pretty good. I don't buy them all that much.
Or the Star Crunch are like the brownie ones, right? With the little nerds on
No,
top, or
no, they're like the Rice Krispie treat, but chocolate. It's like chocolate and crisp rice.
maybe I
Yeah,
might not have had those,
yeah.
or maybe just haven't had one in a long, long time.
And like cosmic brownies, fuck off. You're
Yeah,
gross.
cosmic brownies are
No,
gross.
fuck. And
Disgusting.
especially the ones with the nuts on it. No,
That's the
get your
very
fucking-
bottom of the
yeah,
list.
get this fuck out of here. All right. I have a couple of movies. I have a couple of shows. Do you got much?
I have, I think, two things other than our main
All
topic.
right. Well, I'll do two real quick.
Okay.
So I watched two shows that came to an end. Let's start with the better of the two. My Adventures with Superman season 2 came to a close. They introduced Supergirl in it and Brainiac in a very interesting way. Kind of spoilers for this, but when she comes to Earth, she's actually Brainiac's like herald, and Brainiac has convinced her, we go to these planets, we show them the way to how to live a good life, and then they can be under the rule of Krypton.
Woo!
But of course, they never want to, and Brainiac just wipes them out. But she doesn't know that. She thinks she's bringing peace around the galaxy. So when she, meets Clark, they're a little combative, and he doesn't want to bend the knee. He has to open her eyes to all of it. It's pretty good. Oh, and she also falls in love with Jimmy, and so like it was one of the first humans that she finds, and just like has a crush and doesn't know what these feelings are because Brainiac has just been this robot dad to her the whole time. It's cute, and I love. I really like Jack Quaid as Superman. He's just so charming and likable, and this is a Superman that is hopeful and just not so dour that we've grown accustomed to. It's really a nice show, especially if you like Superman the animated series. This is a good follow up to that.
Excellent.
I know I mentioned yesterday I watched Suicide Squad Isekai. Sucks. And, it doesn't even wrap up its story. It sucks. It's stupid. It looks nice. It's fine, but it's garbage. And I'm also still on Delicious in Dungeon. I think I have like 3 episodes left.
Oh wow! Okay.
I was trying to get it done tonight, before the show, but whenever my roommate's around, I'm embarrassed to have anime on because I'm embarrassed with anime. So an outsider even more
Yeah.
than me, it's incredibly cringy. And this is not even like the worst anime for that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'd watch an episode and it's like, as soon as it's done, turn it off. I can't watch it in front of people.
Yeah, I refuse to watch anime in front of my wife.
Yeah,
And it's not because like I'm necessarily embarrassed that I like some animes. I think if you like a thing, you should embrace it.
sure.
That being said, it
Hmm.
feels like every time someone who doesn't really watch it comes to watch it, it's always on the most embarrassing part
Yeah.
possible.
Yep.
And it,
It's, we finally brought you back from the dead. Let's go wash all this dragon blood off you and sit in our sauna and bathe each other. And like, do we need that? No. Do we need harpies with their tits out? No. There's just some parts, like especially when the sister comes back and she's that weird chimera
Yeah.
sort of thing. She gets like stabbed in the chest and she's like feeling her wounds and they have to do this slow mo boob bouncing motion. Like, you don't need to do that. Stop it. It's like for most of that show, it's relatively wholesome,
Yeah.
kind of silly, and then someone gets shot through the head
Yeah.
and blood goes everywhere. I'm like, Jesus Christ,
Tonally, it's all over the
it's
place.
all over the place. Yeah, and
But it somehow works, I
it
think.
does. But the one thing I don't like about it is that you can revive people so easily. So then
Hmm.
because there's the episode where they meet up with like all the ninjas and they're all
Yeah.
exchanging stories, and then the sister come and just wrecks them all. Like, damn, I thought this was going to be part of the show. Oh, and we bring them all back. They're all fine. Like, it kind of takes away some of the tension that people can, or like that group that keep dying and they keep coming across them and revive them and go on, and like, I hate those guys. Just die and be dead already. uh, but yeah, I'm almost done with that. I'll give it a thumbs up for now unless they totally shit the bed, because I don't need to bring it up again once I get those final
Okay, fair
episodes,
enough.
but we'll talk
I don't think there's anything in the last three that would make you, if you've liked it enough up to this point,
Okay.
those last three, I don't think
Okay,
would
I mean,
change your opinion.
there's nothing like, the greatest meal we had was the friendship we made along the way. If there's any of that shit, I'm giving it a thumbs down.
Well, last question, and
Okay.
then we'll wrap up the delicious dungeon thing. Because at this point, I think I've said it on here before. I fucking hate cat people that pop up in
Oh
anime.
yeah, I have
And
met the
there's
cat person.
what's it?
I have met the cat
Right,
person.
I've
Yeah.
assumed you have at this point. Any thoughts on that character? You're just indifferent to it.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen a lot more anime than you, I think.
yeah, she doesn't bother me
Okay.
at all. I mean, it's kind of a neat,
I like the lore behind
like
it.
the twist, being a monster person. It's
Yeah.
like you're not a race of people. You're
You're
like an
a cursed
abomination.
person, yeah. But I just pick any other animal. It would have been fine. I just didn't. I don't
Yeah.
need cats anymore.
Nah.
They're like in Dungeons and Dragons. There are a race of cat people.
Mhm.
They're called tabaxi, and they look like leopards or
Sure,
whatever.
sure.
Or there's even a version where they're like lions, and they're called leons or something. I forget.
Okay.
But the point is, just like you can make a cool looking cat person, but you just made like a kind of cute
Yeah.
human person with like cat features, and it's so fucking annoying.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
do those ones in D&D, do they have boobs? Like, come on.
They could, yeah.
I mean, unless they have like a cute human face, boobs, and a cat tail, like, how are you going to get people to want to have sex with them?
Yeah, I don't need. Who is it? Chitara or whatever from Thundercats.
Oh yeah.
Give me.
But see, at least that's more of a cat person. Like, she's more cat than person.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, this is a person with cat ears and fur.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. I'm gonna get off my cat high horse or whatever.
And then the last show is I watched The Acolyte, a Star Wars show with a lot
Which
of
I've
promise.
heard nothing but great things.
It starts off slow, it gets kind of bad, then it gets really cool. You have one really cool episode, and then it gets kind of meh again. I'll applaud them for doing a different time period than the Skywalker saga. I will applaud them for killing pretty much all the main characters. I will chide them for, of course, having to force in a little Yoda cameo at the end.
Force. Nice.
And we get a little Darth Plagueis, sneak peek. Ooh, isn't that interesting? This is a show that could have been really cool with a little bit of work. I feel like they just, once they're done writing it, pass it off to real Star Wars fans. People who know the lore and are also writers who can understand structure, because it may be all in editing. I don't think so, but it is so wishy-washy, and like, it's not, the continuity is really weird, where one person can force sense someone on a planet miles away
Hmm.
the moment they get off their ship, but another person can't tell the difference between two siblings on the same ship. Now, there is a thing that happens in the show where they're not twins, they're the same person split into two bodies. And so that's why maybe he couldn't tell the difference between the two, but I still think you can feel their anger and emotion,
Uh,
animosity, things like that. And you could tell, like, oh, hey, Osha, why are you so pissy right now? Normally you feel like this. But I just think with some touch ups and a little bit of editing, this could have been very cool. But I would have to give it like just an okay, right in the middle
I
of
was going
all
to
the
say,
Star
like,
Wars shows.
okay, that was my
It's
next
it's
question.
better than Ahsoka. It's way better than what's his fucking name, Obi-Wan. It's a million times better than Book of Boba Fett. But you're not gonna even get close to either Mandalorian season 1 or
Andor.
Andor. Thank you. I'm like,
I
what
know
the?
you're struggling.
Yeah, I was like, what is that
What's
called?
the name of this thing
What's
that I really, really love and
what's the
talk
best
about
Star
all the
Wars
time?
thing that
Yeah.
I've ever seen? I can't remember. You
Ooh.
know my brain; it doesn't work anymore. So yeah, if you're obsessed with lightsabers, watch episode 5. It's really cool. Get to see a lot of Jedi's just get fucking killed in fun ways. But that episode still has dumb things of like, oh, the bad guy's gonna kill us. And the good guy's about to strike him down, and someone says, no, don't. Like, why not? He just killed all your friends. Like, Jedi aren't supposed to do that. They don't kill in anger. I'm like, okay. Well, then they put a light on his back that attracts a bunch of bugs. And like, well, we'll let the bugs kill him.
It's the Batman defense.
Let's run away. And then he just kills all the bugs and gets away. And like, you're letting this guy live to kill more. Why? Your code is completely out the window already. Why would you stop? It's got some stupid shit, but I don't
And
know.
throughout all the Star Wars movies, we've seen the Jedi killed
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, so give me something of yours.
All right. I don't have much.
But I know I love you, and that may be.
uh, oh, we didn't. Oh, we didn't talk about a show we both finished recently, but we'll
Oh,
get to that.
that's one of our main topics.
Oh,
We'll do
okay.
that
I couldn't remember if you said it at the
before
beginning.
Twisters. Yeah.
Okay, well then edit all around that. All right, so I read something. I read a graphic novel designed for ages, I think, 8 to 12.
Okay, so you looked at the picture book.
It is. It's a graphic novel from our friends over at Wizard of the Coast, Dungeons and Dragons. It's called Dungeon Club Roll Call. I was recently at a like discount store that has books for super cheap and other like doodads and bullcrap. You probably don't
Shout
need.
out the store.
I don't know. Is Ollie's like a national chain or is
Yeah.
it just okay? I was in an Ollie's.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I kind of knew you were. I don't know. It's like I was at a place that like had stuff for cheap, and that's what they are. You want to find some Wakanda Forever toys? You go to
yeah.
Ollie's. That's where all the stores
There's like
dump their shit.
yeah, it's like Eternals, Monopoly,
Yes.
lots
Yeah.
of different monopolies there.
Uh-huh.
Other toys from the Dungeons and Dragons movie are there,
Yeah.
and they've been there for months, I
They
think.
did not sell.
But their books actually have a pretty good rotation. Like if you check back every couple weeks, they have new stuff, and sometimes you get like some really good deals. I told you before that I found the like this Targaryen history book hardcover. It's like it's a pretty big book. And
Yeah, use your hands. The listeners can
yeah,
see.
yeah. You guys
How
can see
big?
my
Oh,
hands.
it's that big.
It's that big. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Cool.
It's filled with cool art. That book was originally $60. I got it for $8.
Nice.
And so this is a $20 book that I got for $5. Would I have bought it otherwise? Absolutely not. But I like Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
and I like and sometimes middle school books kind of fun.
Yeah, and it's a good one for when your son's getting a little older.
Exactly.
You want
I'm
to
saving.
indoctrinate him.
Yeah. So this is the story of two girls who play Dungeons and Dragons together. They're starting middle school. One's the DM, one's one of the players, and they've just always played with each other. And now that they're starting middle school, the DM's like, I want to start a Dungeons and Dragons club, which the other person doesn't really like because she's more of a loner.
Mhm.
And it's just these two kids like deciding how their friendship's going to work if we bring in other people and the struggles of middle school and dealing with bullies. And it's got kind of some fun stuff about like giving
A mouse a cookie.
what?
If you give a mouse a cookie, you know the book?
No.
You don't know that book.
Oh, wait. Yes, I did. Sorry. It took me a second. But they'll introduce a character in the story and then kind of give them like a fun little like stat sheet of just like bully potential very low,
Okay.
popularity points 12 or popularity class 12. It's like kind of like fun little mix of that. Some good art in it. We get to see like their in-world campaign and how they're going through it. So you get the kind of like a little bit of fantasy stuff while also dealing with the real world problems and how they incorporate that in story. So in terms of a graphic novel for middle schoolers, I had a fun time. I thought it was pretty cute. I was hoping it was just one, and I would have to buy more books because I'm not going to. A sequel just came out this month, so I'm not going to spend $20 on it. But if I see it at Ollie's, I'll probably pick it up.
So is there only the two then?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what this was, and when I bought it, I saw that it has a 1, like the dice on the side. It says 1, so I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a continuing series."
But hey, but at least you're getting in early.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, there's 14 of these.
Yeah. But for $5, I had a good time, and now my son has something to read in 8 years.
Nice. All right, I watched. This is for you.
Okay.
I watched a movie called Foodfight. It's like a CG animated movie that was coming out in the early 2000s.
Okay.
But the guy who ran it said all the assets got deleted or stolen or hacked or something. We got to start over from scratch. It cost like $65 million to make. It's got Charlie Sheen as I think his name is like Dick Dogler or something like that. He's a detective dog. He looks like Scruff McGruff.
Okay.
And it's a story about mascots in a grocery store, and they come to life after the store is closed, and he solves little crimes for them. But then when the evil brand X gets introduced into the store, it's trying to take over, all the different brands and boot them out so they could be the only one. And it's very fascist, very Nazi-esque, lots of Nazi imagery, terrible acting, terrible, even worse animation. This movie
is called Foodfight?
Foodfight! One word.
Got it.
It's got Wayne Brady in it. It's the type of animation that you would have seen, like, it's like Reboot. It's that cheap looking. But everybody, when they talk, they're like using their hands for every word, and they're spinning around and just like won't shut the fuck up.
Have you checked its IMDb score?
Yeah, that's why I bought it.
Oh.
I bought this movie for $10 on Amazon.
It's 2012, actually.
Oh, 2012. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it was supposed to come out years earlier,
okay.
And it took so long. And if you watch the trailer, it's got characters like Chester Cheetah that's not in it because the brand's pulled.
Wow, there's a lot of legendary actors in this. That's crazy.
Yeah. And it made like $7,000 when it went to theaters. It did nothing, and I bought it because it was on the IMDb like lowest rating of all time. And I know it's free on YouTube, so you can watch it whenever. But I felt like I needed to have a hard copy. But I don't know if I'm ever going to watch it again because when I thought it was over, there was still like 30 minutes left, and it's the big final fight showdown. It's really, really bad, really rough. And I think a mascot theme movie could be fun. Like the cover of it shows like the Twinkie guy, the Vlasic Pickle Stork, but they're just background characters. They don't even have like voices. There's the Chiquita Banana Lady, but she can't quite look like her, so she looks like someone else. Like Mr. Clean's there, but he's just in the background. And then you have these horrifying other assets that people made probably as a goof and then just put them in there. It's a torturous watch, but me and my roommate had a good time watching it. And if you ever wanted to sit down and laugh and torture yourself, we could watch it together. But if you want to watch it on your own in small increments, watch it on YouTube. Watch like the first 20 minutes. You get the idea.
All right. Well, before we move on to the next thing, let me read off some of this cast for anyone who's interested. Yeah. Not legendary actors, all of them, but still. So Hilary Duff, and I assume her sister, Haley Duff, Charlie Sheen, Eva Longoria, Wayne Brady, and then we have Christopher Lloyd of Back to the Future.
Oh, his character is insane.
Mr. Clipboard. Chris Kattan from Saturday Night Live. Larry Miller, just one of those character actors who, if you saw the picture, you'd be like, oh yeah, that guy. Ed Asner, Jerry Stiller, Christine Baranski, Harvey Fierstein. Once again, one of those guys who might not know the name of, but has just been in a bunch
He
of
was
stuff.
in Independence Day. He had that voice, that cigarette smoking voice.
Yeah.
That was his whole gimmick.
And Cloris Leachman, there's actors in
there. There
this.
is, yes. It is kind of gross. I think Hilary Duff was 15 at the time, and she plays the love interest of Charlie Sheen, who was a very much older man, at least 39, probably 49. Yeah, kind of gross.
Right.
It's bad. But all that was good, so I'll probably just leave that in. But I did see a good movie, or at least it was pretty good.
Okay.
It's called Time Addicts.
You do love a good time-based movie.
I love time travel, and this is a great concept one where it all takes place in one house, all throughout time. Well, not all throughout time, but from, say, late 90s to the year 2050 or something like that. So two junkies, it's an Australian movie. They want to get their next score. They got to get it from their crazy drug dealer, and he will only, they have a debt to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you go into this house, you get this duffel bag full of drugs, come back, and we'll say your debt's clear. Like, okay, we'll do it. So they break in, and they find it. Like, there's a old homeless man sleeping with it, and they keep hearing this kind of whoosh, and the house shakes every couple of minutes, and then all right, let's get the hell out of here. And they go back, and all of a sudden, there's blood on the wall, and the window they climbed through has a chain locked on it. What the hell's going on? Oh, I don't know what we're gonna do. And they're real pieces of shit. They're always just ragging on each other. But then when you take this pill or you snort it, really, you travel through time. They don't really say you can control it, but I think you're supposed to kind of think of a time, and you should go to it. But the rules are kind of fast and loose. So this dude just gets whipped back in time to the owner of the house way back in the day with this undercover cop who pretty much holds him at gunpoint and is like, you're my boyfriend now, and you're going to be stuck here. And so then the girl, drug addict, is like, what the fuck's going on? And she starts hopping through time and running into herself, and her future self is like, I gotta go do this thing, and then she fucks off, and you just kind of follow these two, and it becomes this big causality loop. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, if I didn't do this, then I would have never been born, sort of bullshit. Right. It's clever enough, and it's ambitious enough, but it's not too big, and you kind of see where a lot of the things are going, but by the end of it, it's that was a good, fun movie. I think it's on Tubi. Time Addicts.
I need to still get on Tubi and watch.
Tubi's great. Yeah, you gotta watch ads.
The Weird Al movie.
No, that's Roku.
Oh, okay. I need to get on Roku and watch.
I haven't watched Weird yet either.
Yeah.
Tubi does have some originals. They had one. Ooh. It's called Low Lifes. I think I may have brought it up on an episode. A family of four who are traveling through the middle of nowhere and come across some rednecks who are up to no good, but it turns out the family of four, they're up to no good. They're psycho killers, and they kill those rednecks because they're all psychopaths. And then when they end up at a house where those rednecks lived, because they're going to kill these people for their yearly quota or whatever, then the bad rednecks are going to have to turn the tide. And, it's pretty good.
Cool. All right. Sorry, one second. The last thing I got before we move on to our main two topics, unless you have some other stuff.
I got one more.
Okay. I listened to Childish Gambino's new album, Bando, Stone, and the New World.
How's that?
I'm a big Childish Gambino fan. Well, Donald Glover fan, really. I like his stand-up. I like the things he makes. I like the things that he's been in. And I've liked his music long before most people even knew who this fucking guy was. Mm-hmm. I don't have a lot of claim to fame. I found this guy before he was cool. Donald Glover is mine, and so I've just been a fan of his for the longest time and still am. This new album, probably my least favorite of his.
Yeah, this is his last one, right?
This is allegedly his last one under the Childish Gambino name. Oh. And this album is, I believe, paired with his new movie coming out. But I thought when I saw the trailer for you saw the trailer for the new movie.
I didn't watch it. No.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned it, and I meant to watch it, and I didn't watch it.
I need to do some research because I thought it was a full length film, but I heard it's just like a short. So I think it's kind of like what he did with Guava Island, where it was like a
Mm,
30-minute,
yeah.
40-minute thing. I think it's that.
Okay.
But he also, he put out sort of like a mixtape EP or whatever you want to call it for Guava Island. Anyway, this album I liked overall, but probably my least favorite. It's a little all over the place. There's some rapping in it, which he doesn't do a lot of anymore on a couple songs. Some songs kind of have like a pop punk kind of feel.
Hmm.
Some songs are kind of more like beach relax vibes. So just tonally, it's all. I think if it flowed better, it might be more enjoyable, but I'm not sure if it's like, oh, well, these are just the songs in order that will appear how they do in the movie, so that's why they're played
Okay.
this way. I'm not quite sure. Um, so if you're a fan of Childish Gambino or Donald Glover or whatever, you'll like it. But in terms of like his other work, I think it's the least enjoyable of his albums or even his mixtapes or EPs. At least from Camp on or EP on. And you guys who know Childish Gambino music know what I'm talking about because he did stuff before he got famous that wasn't as good, or I would even argue like kind of bad. Um, Before he was Childish Gambino, I think he was calling like kind of calling himself Sick Boy, and he was doing how like
Huh.
little Wayne was called Wheezy because he had this
Yeah.
specific way of speaking. He kind of did like, oh, my nose is stuffy kind of sound.
Okay, yeah.
So that was his thing. It's like, oh, I'm Sick Boy, and it was just like he was rapping like with a. It just sounded like he had a runny nose or a stuffy nose or whatever. It's really weird,
Hmm.
but the songs weren't very good back then. But they're great now. So yeah, some favorites of mine are Lithonia, Dadvocate, and Running Around. Look them up if you're interested. Those are my top three from that album. But I love you, Donald Glover. Be my best friend.
Okay. And how many albums does he have?
So he's made a ton of music, but like official studio albums, I believe it's 5. There's Camp, Because the Internet, Awaken My Love. Uh, it was originally called 3.15.20.
Okay.
I think is that album. It came out and like all the tracks just had the time code pretty much. So whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, but he re-released it a couple weeks back as At a Vista. It was like a re-release, and then he dropped this. So I think there's 5. I might be missing one, but so 3.15.20 and At a Vista are the exact same. They just
Okay.
came out 4 years apart, but it's the
Okay.
same album.
Interesting. All right. So I saw a movie that's new in theaters called Oddity. It's weird that this movie is a relatively big horror release, but there was only 2 show times.
Hmm.
It's just nighttime shows. Long Legs got, all day shows, so I don't know why. Maybe they didn't have faith in it. I think it's an Irish film. Stories about a couple. They have renovated this old, I want to call it a castle because it's just very castle looking. It's like a big square, but it's got a courtyard in the middle that you drive into.
Sure.
Uh, they're renovating it, and the husband is a psychiatrist. He works in a mental institution that's close by. His wife is staying there alone. She doesn't quite like it. It's kind of spooky all by herself. And he's like, well, once I get this promotion, my hours will change and everything will be good. Then she hears like a knock at the door. She goes outside to do something and then comes back in, hears a knock at the door, and there's this long haired, crazy looking homeless guy with 2 different colored eyes saying, you got to let me in. Someone is in your house and they're going to hurt you. Like, no, you're a crazy person. I know because there's there's an insane asylum right down the road, and
Mm-hmm.
you must have escaped. And like, I know this sounds crazy, but I saw someone go into your house, and they're waiting to hurt you. Let me in, and I'll help. And she just thinks about it, and it's like, no, can't do it. He's like, okay, fine, I'll go to town real quick, and I'll call the cops. But like, if you hear anything, run. And so she has set up like her camera to take a picture every couple of minutes, and she's going through the pictures. Sure enough, there's someone in her house, and she's hiding in her little tent because it's not fully furnished yet. And here's a dude in a mask and beats her to death with a hammer.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
This is early on.
Okay.
So flash forward, the woman's twin sister, who is blind and works in like an oddities shop that was given to her by her mother, knows all about curses and things like that. And she has this gift. If she holds something personal of yours, she can like see its whole history and learn everything about you through it. And she's here to say, this crazy person did not kill, because the crazy person was arrested, brought to an brought back to an insane asylum. Why can't I say that word?
I don't know. You're
brought
really
back to the insane asylum, and then he's murdered. And he's like, he didn't do it. It was someone else. And so the husband and his new girlfriend, who's living there now that the house is all done, like, okay, thanks for stopping by, but we don't want you here. She's like, oh, but I got a gift. And it's this box with a man in it, but the man looks like he could be Clayface, or he's made of wood, or a hornet's nest, or an old dried up rotten apple. It's crazy looking. It's got eyes and a mouth, and it's spooky, and it's just sitting at the coffee table, just looking straight ahead. And it's got these little holes in the back of its head where the new girlfriend is like pulling out. There's pictures of the two twin sisters. There's a vial of blood and some hair, and like, what the fuck is going on? And then the sister kind of explains what she says actually happened. And the husband's like, you're a crazy person. That didn't happen. And it goes on from there. That's about like the first act or so. This movie's fucking great. This is one of the best things I've seen this year. It's so spooky, and it does have jump scares, but I think they're earned, and it really knows how to build tension of just a small little crack from somewhere down that hallway. Was that a crack, or hey, it's an old house? Could be. And just the droning sound of silence. And then when things really start ramping it up, the sound design goes crazy with some of the sound effects.
Okay.
It's really, really good. And I think you would dig it. If you're into like Hereditary, this is a good, smaller budget version.
Okay.
Highly, highly recommend.
Cool. All right. Well, I might have to check that out.
Yeah,
then.
but I would say you got this week, and then it's gone. It only has 2 showtimes a day. It's like a 7:30.
I mean, chances are I can wait.
Okay, I guess. But you got the pass, man. You got the pass.
But I'm just saying, if I have such a time, if I can, I will. But.
It's a 7:20 show and like a 10:30 show, and that's it. Maybe they'll add more times if it does well, because my theater, even though it was a small theater, was packed.
That's surprising and good to hear, because just from the poster, it looked very generic.
Yes.
I haven't heard of this movie until this week, and I haven't seen a trailer for it. Might have to look that up, because so when you told me you were going to go see it, I was like, oh, well, you just see all the horror movies. I expect this to be hot garbage trash, and you tell me, yep, it's more hot garbage trash.
Nope.
But the fact that
this is better than Longlegs, for sure.
Okay, cool.
All right, let's get to our main topics.
Let's do it.
First one, Boys Season 4. Good season. Love this season. Not my favorite season. Maybe the weakest season. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's got some real strong stuff in it. I love all the new characters added. But I think some of the story structure is a little messy. All the boys don't seem to be with each other. Huey's away for a bit. Butcher's doing his own thing for most of it. I like it when the boys are doing boys things, and they could split for a mission and then come back together by the end of it. But everybody seems to be kind of doing their own thing. And I've heard it's more likely because they're all big stars now. They have other things to do. They have to shoot around these people's schedules.
Sure. Okay.
So maybe you write a story about Huey's dad being in the hospital, and he could do things on his own without, because like Carl Urban, I think, was filming Mortal Kombat around the same time, which
Carl Urban's in the new Mortal Kombat.
He's Johnny Cage. He's a little old to be playing Johnny Cage.
I think that's good casting
That
if you cast him right after Lord of the Rings.
yeah, or you know who would be a great Johnny Cage, especially for right now? Glenn Powell.
Mm, I mean, they're
He's
probably close to the same age, though.
no way. Carl Urban's
Echo, how old is Carl Urban?
Carl Urban's age is 51. Carl Urban was born on
Echo,
June 7th.
stop. Echo, how old is Glenn Howerton?
no, Glenn
Glenn
Powell.
Howerton.
Go, sorry, Glenn. Oh my God. Echo, stop. I'm sorry.
You just got it mixed up.
I got it mixed up.
Because
Yeah.
there's no way Glenn Powell is. It's like what? Maybe 37? Maybe.
There's not a lot of Glens, so
That's true.
I got mixed up. I'm sorry. Yes, Glenn Powell.
Yeah, Glenn Howerton, I don't
Yeah.
think would be a good. I mean,
Yeah,
I think he has the attitude he could give for Johnny Cage, but
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, Glenn Powell's good casting. I'd cast Glenn Powell too.
All in all, I like this. I like where it ends up, and it, does what every good finale is supposed to do: make you just give me another one. I want to know where this is going, and we got about a year and a half before that happens.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I didn't care about this season at all. Well, not at all. I just kind of, for me personally, and I don't know if it's just like, the subject matter feels a little too close to home or whatever it is.
It's always felt close to home. It's just a bit more overt.
100%. That is true. And that's what the show has always been. I'm not like surprised that it's doing what it's doing. But I just felt like this season is the least funny season. I don't remember laughing a lot. I kind of just feel like at this point, I'm just tired of, the shock value of just how people die or whatever. It just doesn't affect me anymore.
What sort of weird body part or sex act can we throw into this one?
And then kind of what you said, like none of the boys' journeys really meant anything to me. Like Frenchie, his storyline, like I like the idea of Frenchie like feeling great shame and regret of like the things he's done and like kind of dating the guy whose family you murdered, but that just ultimately doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, he doesn't get he turns himself in, and then 2 episodes later they just get him back out.
Yeah, you don't see any of like that whole situation. It just kind of felt like, well, we need to make it seem like him and Kimiko won't be together, so they'll be together at the end. Which like I like those two together. I think they're probably the best couple of the group.
But they don't need to be fucking. Can't they just be buddies?
Yeah, but even if they are, like her yelling "no" at the end did absolutely nothing for me. Like we waited all this time for her to speak,
and he doesn't even hear it.
And it just, she finally speaks, and that's when you do it. And it would be the appropriate time for her to do it. From a character standpoint, it works for me, but from an emotional standpoint, for whatever reason, I was just like, I didn't care.
Especially because like Kimiko stuff never really paid off. Oh no, there's someone from my past. Bye. Like doesn't show up again. Like, oh, I did a fucked up thing, but I'm cool with it. I'm dealing.
We've had 4 seasons of Butcher and Ryan going back and forth, and will they, won't they be friends, and how are they gonna like work them into the Homelander plan? Like, didn't care about any of that. I kind of liked the Jeffrey Dean Morgan in his head thing, but whatever. Huey and Starlight were fine, I guess, but Starlight like not having powers for the whole season, pretty much, like that was boring and uneventful. Huey getting raped multiple times, essentially.
Huey had
the worst season on top of having to kill his own dad. Of all the like emotional stuff, I think him and his dad stuff was all pretty great. Because what a horrifying situation. 2, what an amazing actor Simon Pegg is. Because we always see him in comedy stuff, and here he gets to like emote, which was great. And him and Huey and that whole death scene I thought worked. Everything else Huey did this season I did not fucking care about. I don't think this season was all that enjoyable, and it was all just more of the same, but not as interesting or well written, because we've been doing it for 4 years now, and I'm just ready for the show to be over. I don't care about this show too much anymore. I'm still gonna watch the finale or the final season because I've already put all this time into it. But like Homelander going on killing sprees, we've seen so many times. It just seems like at this point they need to kill another person.
Yeah, I'm surprised A-Train or the Deep made it out.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even talk about Mother's Milk. He didn't do anything for me this season. I don't think he had much of a story. Like he's like
it's always like my family.
Yeah,
I want to go back to my family.
He's taking over the boys, but he's not really taking over the boys because Butcher comes back.
Yeah.
He's got to deal with his family, but his family doesn't want to deal with it. But then the family's just like, oh, well, come away with us. But it's like, I can't come away with you.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh, but he gets them back. But it's, because I can't come with you, then it's, okay, so that amounted, like, everything amounted to nothing in the season because it's all just like laying the groundwork for hopefully like the big final season.
Yeah.
So this season was, it's not bad. It just does nothing for me, and it made me tired of watching the boys.
Okay. Well, I understand that. Especially
I think the Deep is great, though. The Deep is the best part of the season.
He's the best part of most seasons.
Yeah.
He's the biggest piece of shit and the biggest moron, and you just love to see him fall on his face. You love to see him be pathetic. But did he have to kill his girlfriend, his octopus girlfriend?
Mm-hmm.
You bastard. Just throw her back in the ocean, man. You don't need to let her die. You fucking scumbag.
Yeah,
she
like, it's not like she's going to... You can do whatever. It's like, she's not going to go on TV and talk, like...
No one can understand her.
Yeah, you're the only one.
In the ocean. Yeah.
She's not going to, like, get in a car and find you or anything. Yeah. Like, it'll be fine.
Yeah, so that was frustrating. But, yeah, Deep's always good. So I can understand not enjoying some of the things we've seen before, but what about some of the new characters? What do you think about Firecracker?
I like Firecracker as a concept, but she was fine. I have no, like...
I think Firecracker may be, like, my favorite new character on the show. Not, like, my favorite character, but, like, of this season, she may be the MVP. She plays that character so well.
Yeah.
And just that completely right-wing, knows they're full of shit, lying scumbag. And
we're going to get another downvote.
That's exactly what her character is.
Yeah.
And
a walking downvote.
And she's fantastic. And she was involved in one of my favorite scenes of showing Homelander that she can produce milk for him now, and getting sprayed in the face is one of the all-time best reactions from him. We've seen his quiet, clenched jaw, eye twitching, but that was like genuine shock. It almost looked like a blooper, how shocked he was. I would love to see the outtakes and how many times they had to do it, because it's so damn ridiculous.
Yeah.
What about Sister Sage?
I like Sister Sage a lot. I think of the new characters, and if there's more than these two, really, then I guess you could say Tech Knight and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, he appeared. He had a whole episode in
which I didn't watch.
Yeah, he's not nearly as disgusting. I mean, he's disgusting in that, but not nearly as bad as this.
I like Sister Sage because I thought she was fun, and I liked that she was smart. But like, you weren't quite sure if she was on Team Homelander or Team Human Decency. But it definitely seemed like she wasn't. But even at the end of the season, you're kind of like, is this all part of the plan for Homelander or against Homelander? I'm unsure. So that's kind of fun. And like how she gets off, I thought was a fun little idea. Like, no, make me stupid as shit.
Yeah. And
then we'll have sex or whatever.
Unless it's with Noir.
Oh, yeah.
And like, so she's making you lobotomize her too? I'm like, lobotomize? He's like, no, she actually respects Black Noir to a certain degree. That's a great joke.
Yeah. So I think she was pretty fun.
I think her plan is like Team Homelander to see, can this be done? And now that it's done, it's going to come back around of, she realizes superheroes are the problem for the world.
Yeah.
And in order to, build the world back up, you have to tear it all down first.
Sure.
So this is just,
by the end of this season, I was like, okay, she's Team Homelander.
But I think by the end of next season, she'll be like, yeah, I did all this because your downfall needs to happen. You are a scumbag. She's not a good person, but in order to get to that point, you have to tear down the world to have everybody turn on the soups.
But she says at the end of the season, or something like that, like now the fun really starts or whatever, or now it gets really interesting, whatever. It's like, okay, so I know I can make it so I can disrupt the USA or culture or whatever, but can I take over the world,
Yeah.
or can I just like make enough chaos happens where like I'm the mastermind that like destroyed everything, or is it I'm the mastermind who saved everything? I don't know. So
She's a lot of fun.
I thought she was a lot of fun. But Firecracker fits what they're trying to do very well, and I like and I liked Firecracker. It just, she was just another crazy bad soup lady like what was I Cash's character from
Stormfront.
Stormfront, yeah. Just another Stormfront to me.
Okay. Yeah, but dumb.
But dumb, yeah. But like that's what made her charming.
What about Ashley? What do you think? What do you think is going to happen to her?
You know what? Fuck Ashley. I don't care about Ashley. Like her character is fun because of how much shit she gets put through and how ridiculous some of her scenes are, especially this season. Like gross.
Yeah.
But at the same time, honestly, like compared to the superheroes, I think she might be the worst person in the show. Like, yeah, she doesn't kill people, but the fact that she's just like part of this and just agrees to it is just eats everyone's shit. But no, I don't blame her at all. Like
if you are, supposed to be running this company and Homelander's like your number 2 pretty much, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, no.
You're screwed. You have to just become the worst person.
I totally get it. But like Ashley deserves to die. I don't
you don't want a heroic
I don't want a heroic thing. I don't want a redemption arc for her. It's just like, look, you didn't want to be down this rabbit hole, but you're in it, and now you can't escape it no matter what you do. You've seen enough dirty shit. You've helped them do enough dirty shit. Ashley needs to go. Everyone in the show...
She's not getting out.
Everyone pretty much in this show needs to go, really. Yeah. Everyone's bad except for, like, Huey and Starlight, I guess. But
I've heard rumors, or fan theories, that in the comics there's someone called, Jack from Jupiter, and he was one of the first soups that they said, oh, he's an alien. He's here to help us. But he's just a guy with V, and it just fucked his face up, so he looks like an alien. Well, his color scheme is orange and red. He has like no nose. He's got kind of a bulbousy head. That maybe she'll mutate enough to look like that character, so it'll be a little nod. And I think we talked about this earlier in the week, but my pitch for how to open up season 5, you got A-Train with, let's say, like put a funny Rastafarian wig on him. Like he's chilling on the beach, drinking out of a coconut, trying to be in disguise, and then Homelander just slowly lands behind him like, wow, it took a long time, but I finally found you, and just takes him out. And that's your inciting incident of your big splatterfest that you always have to have in episode 1, and raises the stakes. A-Train's not going to come in and rescue the boys out of wherever they've been taking them.
The only change I would like to see to that is I would like to see A-Train kind of maybe not necessarily try and fight back because he knows he can't damage Homelander, but does do some like fun speed things, because we never really see him do. Oh, that's kind of like the whole thing of the show. Like no one ever crime fights. They just like brutally murder random people.
We don't see him in action.
But when A-Train grabbed that guy and dragged him across the highway, that was very cool.
We got a little bit with the Deep. He fought the Deep a little bit in this season.
So I'd like to see him try and go toe-to-toe with Homelander and just see like what the power difference is, or is he faster than Homelander? Is he not faster than Homelander?
I think he is, but he's not as durable. So I'd like him to think back to all the times he has run through people and said, if I could get fast enough, maybe I can destroy Homelander. And Homelander just stands there with his arms crossed, or his arms behind his back. Yeah. And A-Train just explodes against him.
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Anywho.
And also, Starlight, Iron Manning off in the last second. Wow, how convenient that your powers came back. They really should have came back when she broke herself out, or she killed her doppelganger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And R.I.P. Newman, you were a fun character to love and hate. And interesting that her and Huey are dating in real life. I would have never guessed.
I don't blame him, though.
I don't blame him either. Britta lady.
She's my president.
All right, anything else about the boys you want to say?
Nope.
Okay. Let's move on to our main topic. Twisters. God, I'm so not even excited to talk about this. This movie is so fucking mediocre. This is like right down the middle.
I am shocked by the level of positive reviews this movie's
people
getting.
love it. And I'm seeing better than the original. Fuck you. There's no way this is that's like saying Independence Day Resurgence is better than the original. Just because it's bigger doesn't mean it's better. The two characters are very, very attractive, but I did not give a shit about their quote unquote relationship. I was more interested in the science. Like, she made some sort of goo that could suck up all the water and take out a tornado. And I think I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but I always had a thought as a kid, like, if you fire a missile big enough and blow up a tornado, could you disrupt it? Because that would be enough force of air exploding in all different ways. Would that cause it to stop, or do you think it would just form back up again?
Yeah, I once again, this is coming from a place of I don't know science, but I would imagine it would disrupt that tornado, but not enough to it would just reform. Would be my guess.
Because it's like you still have the winds, you still have the air pressure and the moisture and everything, so I could see it. But like
you'd have to disrupt the entire 50 miles that this wind current is part, or more. I don't fucking know.
You need Storm to come in and change it.
Yeah. Just can't we call the X-Men every time there's a tornado?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even care about talking about the plot. It's just, can we stop these tornadoes? Can we map them? And some YouTubers who are like, let's shoot fireworks into tornadoes because it gets us views.
Yeah, okay, so I guess I'll do it.
Yeah,
so basically the story is, the movie opens up with college kids. Your main character.
Oh, you're really going into it, huh?
Daisy Edgar Jones. She's the head of this college team who are like, we're going to test this. No one's ever tested it before. We're going to figure out a way to disrupt tornadoes and we can save lives and yada, yada, yada. Long story short, the test goes bad. Everyone on her team, except for one guy, dies. She survives. Her boyfriend's dead, her closest friends. So then, cut to 5 years later. Now she just works for the weather department in New York City, I guess, where she's just like better than everyone. Because she has like a weather sixth sense, like
she just
all this technology that they have just doesn't compare to her natural brain or whatever.
Do you think she moved into the city because that's just like where the jobs are, or is it one of those, I'm afraid of sharks, so I had to move inland?
That's what I think it was.
No tornadoes hit the city.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to be a big
I'm going as far away from tornadoes as possible while still living in America.
Until we get to the sequel and the tornadoes come after her in the big city.
Ooh, boy. So then from here, the one friend from the team like calls her back up. Hey, got this new technology that we can use and do the science experiment again, and we can disrupt the tornadoes and save people, blah, 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 blah. Right. And then from there, she meets Glenn Powell's character, who's a cowboy, a tornado wrangler, because he's from Arkansas, and they wear cowboy hats and drive big trucks. And
they don't got those nice trucks.
We're not all about the science, but we have a YouTube channel and we're just badass, man.
Why is he a wrangler? He doesn't wrangle.
It sounds cooler.
If he had a different science where, like, look, I have this gun that has this sonic vibration, and actually it makes tornadoes follow it, so I can lure the tornado away from homes and stuff. Like, they had competing science things, and like, look, this is how I'm wrangling the tornadoes. I'm pulling it away from the suburbs and, sending it into the Grand Canyon. But it's just like, I'm a tornado wrangler.
But it's just him shooting fireworks at tornadoes and also letting the tornadoes hit him.
Yeah. You stay in the truck, drill down, send a drone up or something.
Yeah.
Just being a real cool dude.
Yeah, just super cool. Because I imagine there's a ton of good money in tornado YouTube channels to hire like a 6-person professional team.
Well, they don't really, they put all that money back into feeding, the people whose houses get lost.
That's true. They're good guys.
They only have 1 million followers too. If you were a big YouTube channel, you got at least 7 million. So, like, are they really doing it for the money, or is it just the love of tornadoes?
And also, like, obviously this week is, their Shark Week, because it's the movie kept saying that this is a once-in-a-generation tornado week or whatever, where tornadoes keep popping up. Yet every town in the surrounding area doesn't, like, evacuate or take any real precautions or, like, just shocked when a tornado lands. But cancel those fucking baseball games.
That's Tornado Alley for you. It's just people live there, not everybody gets to choose where they live, and you can't be scared of it. You know, you got to live your life. You know, hopefully the early warning detection will let us know. But yeah, you just keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
But they have to tell them. They go into town like, everybody get to the basement, and they run around like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off. Like, you live here. This is a yearly thing. It's like people in Florida. Like, here comes the hurricanes again.
But the whole thing is just like, so how many times, because they're going live all week or whatever, and like catching these tornadoes, and it's just like, so are you guys getting a tornado every week? Are there tornadoes every week in America?
Yeah.
If you're from Arkansas, does Arkansas have tornadoes? Is that a big tornado place?
And it's a big
or are you
swath of
guys
land.
just all from Arkansas and you just happen to do all your work in Ohio? Where are we at again?
Oklahoma.
Do you guys live in Oklahoma now? Or are you like more like free range, like we go where the wind takes us kind of thing? Like,
do you have day jobs? Like, you do this 3 months out of the year, and then what do you do for the rest of the year? Your YouTube channel's got to be fucking dormant as shit. How many more tornado updates can you do? And it's not like tornadoes are a worldwide thing. They're mostly right in America, right in the heartland. So you can't go, oh, tornadoes in Japan. Oh, we're taking this YouTube channel on the road. No, it's just always this one time period.
Mm-hmm.
So what do they do?
Yeah. But doesn't matter because movies, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, these two fall in love, or like, you know, they have.
He respects her science, and she realizes he's not a big dumb idiot.
Yeah.
So and then they're like, we're both attractive, so we got.
Yeah, they're both hotties with bodies. You know, of course they're gonna try and smash. But yeah, this one, God, I'm exhausted just thinking about this movie. I want to say I don't even like it, but it's not bad. It is watchable.
No.
It is. There is.
I wish it was bad. I wish it was worse because then it could be dumb fun. But it's not.
Yeah. I mean, none of the tornado sequences I think are all that exciting. And then geographically, I feel like it just doesn't make sense how they were having like all these like big chase sequences on these tornadoes where they're all racing to get to them and they're all cutting each other off because they're dueling teams, but like they're not even dueling over the same goal. It's not like if you achieve your goal, we can't launch our YouTube channel, or if you guys are recording this tornado, it stops us from graphing this tornado. It's like you guys can all just drive there on the same road politely and get there and each accomplish your goal, and it affects nothing.
Let Glenn Powell ahead because he wants to be in the tornado. You want to be away from it and surrounding.
Yeah.
Stop fighting each other.
Yeah. Your guy doesn't. It's like, oh, we're the jocks versus the nerds.
Yeah.
But it's just like, no, you're both nerds. You both can just do your thing.
Yeah.
One's just like kind of cooler than the other one, I guess. And then we have this C plot of Daisy Edgar Jones' friend is, you know, he's working with the Texas oil tycoon or whatever, who's actually like just a land developer.
But he's got a big old cowboy hat on.
He's got a big old cowboy hat on, just like really playing into the stereotype, who's like funding their project because it gives him updated data on like all the houses that are destroyed so he can buy up that land. So, and Daisy Edgar Jones doesn't like that because he's taking advantage of the little guy.
But is he using the data? Because why does he need to know how tornadoes are formed? Because it's not like he's buying these houses before the tornadoes hit and then cashing in on the insurance. He's buying the land after the fact. Anything you do with the mapping doesn't affect the other thing. You can still buy all this land whether you know anything about tornadoes or not. So is he just... What is he doing? Because like, there's no point of him funding these people. They said like, oh, we'll let you know where to buy. You'll know where to buy. It's where the tornadoes hit. You see where all those broken homes are? That's where you know.
I think the idea is that if they can predict how tornadoes work and function, we'll know where this tornado hits. That way you can better prepare to buy up this land. But if a tornado, like tornadoes are a very sudden thing. It's not like you really can predict them. Mm-hmm. Oh, in a week or a month out, we're going to have tornadoes. You can go like, we might.
Yeah.
But you don't know. They just kind of happen.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing you can do about it. And then an hour later, everything's gone.
Yeah, and it's not
So
like
then you just come in after that and then just buy up.
I need a certain area because I'm trying to build this thing. He's just buying up whatever, wherever. So you don't need any of this science malarkey.
Yeah. And, I'm all for, taking down the wealthy and who are like abusing people.
Sure.
But it's just kind of like, well, we need an excuse for her to leave this group and join Glenn Powell's group.
Yep.
Which you probably could have found. It could have just been the, I love you versus I love him kind of thing, where it's just like, you know what, this is uncomfortable, or, we're not working out, or we get in a fight, so she just leaves. You don't need this whole like, well, maybe the team I'm working for are kind of douchebags.
Yeah.
It's just like, everyone in this movie is a fucking douchebag. Because let's talk about how douchebag Glenn Powell is. This guy is creepy in this movie.
Yeah.
He does a lot of creepy things. He like follows her and like to her house at one point without like
and just walking into
the barn.
Introduces himself to the mom, shows up at her hotel room with food. Like, dude, this chick hasn't approached you at all, and you just constantly, and she's like pretty much telling you to fuck off in the nicest way, sending you down wrong paths.
Yeah,
she doesn't seem to be flirting with him at all, but he's like,
but if you're hot, you can do it.
If I just keep bugging her, I will wear her down.
Yeah. So that was a little annoying. It's one thing if you look back at the 80s movies and, the boombox outside, or just like, the high school, the pretty girl in school doesn't notice me because I'm a dweeb, so I have to do this like extra stuff to get her attention. But you could write that off as like, well, that's just kids not knowing what's appropriate or not. But it's like a grown man who's supposed to be like the nice guy hero of your story. It's just like, no, he's just being creepy until she just like agrees to like, okay, he's not as creepy as I thought he was, but he's a bit creepy.
Yeah. It would have been nice for her to have a not interested, or have one line that shows that she is kind of flirty with him, But you don't get any of that. So,
But let's go back to her. Okay. This fucking tornado whisperer, there's all this technology that's designed to like give us better clues as tornadoes. And I wish, because this movie does all this exposition dumping of just like how tornadoes are formed and how they work and moisture and caps or whatever the fuck those are. This movie just keeps dumping information at you. And I feel like I should know how these things work because so much information is thrown at me. I still don't fucking know how they work. But then you just have this, I feel like if they you should have just had the scene from Long Legs where, it's Daisy Edgar Jones in front of just random images going like house, mother, just like, oh, she's partially psychic or something because she can just pick up a dandelion and they're like, oh, I know the tornado's that way, or I can see how
the waves over the grain.
Yeah, it's just
shifting.
It's just is she clairvoyant?
Yeah,
are these actual tricks people use to identify things? It's just like no one else has been taught these things.
Yeah,
it just seems like we need to. We can't compete with technology, so we need to just kind of make her like special, but not base it in any sort of reality. Even though our whole movie is constantly going, here's some reality things on how tornadoes work.
No, they should have made her like an actual psychic. You know, the tornado killed her family, and ever since that traumatic experience, she's had this psychic bond with the weather.
Make her possessed by a tornado ghost.
Absolutely, yes. Like, I'm still hunting for my dad. He got sucked up in a tornado, and one day he'll return. And every tornado, she's trying to find her dad, still flying around, whipping around 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the psychic connection, because she just keeps reading her dad, but her dad's a tornado now.
I honestly would have, I think, enjoyed this movie more if it was just a shitty Sharknado thing, but instead of sharks, it's ghost tornadoes.
Yeah, ghost tornado. Yeah.
Let's write that movie, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, of course, they would insist it be called like Ghost NATO, something like that.
Yeah, we'll workshop a title.
And now, is it one tornado and it's one soul in it, or is it a ton of souls? Like, this tornado goes over a cemetery and sucks up all the souls, and so it's not necessarily wind, it's just these ghosts are spinning around so much, and that's how they cause destruction, because they can't physically touch, but they can whip the weather around.
Yeah, and that would also explain, like in this movie, how a bunch of stuff that's super heavy behind you gets pulled in, but you don't.
Yeah,
it's actually ghosts, because we all know like ghosts can throw books and all that kind of stuff in your house.
Yeah.
So I think what it is, it's like one main ghost who it's either main ghost or a demon of some kind who's
Yeah.
sucking up souls to
Mhm.
add to his collection. Or it's like, if the dad is so filled with hate and rage because he was unjustly taken from this world that his anger can bring in more additional ghosts.
Okay.
So you have like the one Emotep like
Yeah,
insane
yeah.
face who's just like,
And then all of his
and you're like,
zombies.
Dad, you're here.
Oh, yeah.
But then there's also like additional souls around it.
Like it's going through town and like people are running away. They're not getting sucked into the tornado. Their souls are getting sucked out,
Mhm.
and then they turn into like the living dead. And
Oh, so it's a double ghost
it's a
zombie
ghost
thing.
zombie tornado thing.
Oh,
so
shit.
and then once they got to figure out a way to destroy the tornado because then all the souls will go back into the bodies and they'll save the town.
Mm,
You know?
interesting.
Yeah.
Write it up.
No, I will not.
We could sell it though. I think
we probably could.
I think we could.
Probably could.
All right, so back to the movie.
Oh, we're still on this, huh?
Yeah. Oh, Christ.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's left? They go into a movie theater to save a bunch of people. There's a big one, and she's gonna do the Independence Day thing and drive into the tornado and sacrifice herself to send her science goo up in the tornado.
Yeah, which, is fine. But if this thing works, you can't make sequels to this anymore because, okay, now you found the thing that will defeat the tornadoes.
Uh-huh.
Mystery solved. You're not getting Twisters 3.
Yeah. It'll be like Sunshine where they have to mine the earth for this mineral to restart the sun, but since they were using it for all the diapers and stuff like that, there's not so much of this left.
Mm-hmm.
And then the diaper industries, they're the bad guys. And they're like, you don't have claim on all this mineral and stuff. We need it for our diapers. And we're saving lives. And like, we're keeping butts dry. And then so that's the thing. Like, they don't have it anymore because they pay off Congress. And,
Sure.
And then they don't have access to it. So now they have to find another way. And I kind of like my my sonic gun that attracts tornadoes.
Okay.
I think
I don't. But yeah, as much as I like these two actors, and I think there is a bit of chemistry there, but their love story doesn't do anything for me. All the side characters who are introduced in this are just kind of get like little lines here and there, but aren't actual real characters.
No. I'm the hippie one. I'm the smart guy with glasses.
Yeah.
I'm the Hispanic one. They're also like very generic.
I think it's very poorly written. There's some pretty cringy dialogue from time to time, or just lazy dialogue, or just huge dumps of exposition. The direction is fine, I guess, but doesn't do anything all that interesting with the camera.
Yeah.
It also just doesn't make any sense physics-wise. I mean, I'm sure the first one didn't either.
Sure, yeah.
But like I said before, I'm so tired of seeing these, disaster movies where these giant heavy things are getting sucked up or pulled in, but like you're
still on your feet.
You're still on your feet. Your heroes aren't getting sucked up.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, here's this thing that's just like ripping apart this town. This thing is so huge. It's the villain from the very beginning of the movie that killed all your friends comes back at the end and is just massacring this town. But like, just because your car can drill down into the ground means your vehicle's fine.
You're fine,
and like the windows don't go out.
Yep.
I assume it's all like reinforced and everything, but it's like,
Sure.
shouldn't this thing that's like tearing apart a building just pull the fucking car out?
Yeah.
Especially if you're in it.
The drills will stay. The car gets ripped away from the drill. Something.
And it just, I don't know. It makes me think, can you make a tornado-based movie that isn't silly like Sharknado without it just being is Tornado from here on out just Twister's franchise? Because since Twister, have we really gotten a tornado movie?
Into the Storm. It's the one with what's his name? Not Theoden. The lead Hobbit in The Hobbit. The king.
Oh, you're talking about Dwarf?
I mean dwarf. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Theoden?
Thorin. Thorin Oakenshield.
He's in it, and it's like more of a found footage, but they do some crazy tornado stuff. There's a fire tornado at one time.
There's a fire tornado in this?
Exactly. So it's like Into the Storm kind of did a lot of these things already, and maybe that's the way you have to make these interesting. You don't do a romantic drama. You have to turn it into a found footage movie or another
Yeah.
style of movie that isn't so basic, because you could only do so much without filling the tornado with a thing like sharks or ghosts or whatever. It's just going to be a force of nature, and that's boring. It's like fighting earthquakes. I know they do San Andreas, so the fault lines and everything's fucked up or whatever, but what if you were like chasing earthquakes to try to stop them? Like, that's fucking stupid. Fighting weather is stupid.
Yeah.
It's kind of like fighting the wind and the happening, where they're just like, oh no, the happening's coming, and they're running through the field as the wind's blowing behind them. It's not a fun villain.
Yeah.
You need to hate the villain, and it's just boring.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of natural disaster phenomenon stuff, like tornadoes, I feel, are the most visually appealing and scariest looking.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a volcano that erupts, and that's horrifying, and lava is obviously very scary, but it's just this slow-moving ooze.
And it doesn't happen often.
And it doesn't happen often. Yeah. Like Dante's Peak and what's that other one?
Volcano.
Volcano, okay, yeah. I was more of a Dante's Peak guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, like a tidal wave, a tsunami, those are scary things, but you have to do more. Like, with Crawl, there's a monsoon coming. Now there's alligators in your basement.
Yeah.
If they did something like that, it picked these people up and it transported them to some magical place of Oz.
Hurricanes are big and can last a while, but they're not particularly scary because hurricanes happen all the time and people are fine.
Yeah.
Earthquakes, they have to be like shifting the planet and doing the Rock kind of movies to be interesting, because otherwise it's just shaky and some buildings came down, but it's like, that's not a movie. They got to be constantly happening, constantly destroying the earth. Like, you have the movie like The Impossible, a very good movie, but that is a scary situation that lasts 5 minutes, and then the rest is just like surviving after that.
That's the thing with nature.
But then, like, tornadoes, they can last a bit, they look scary, they're big,
and they can keep happening.
Like, so I get but we almost never get tornado movies unless they're just filled with a bunch of silly shit.
Yeah. It really does need to be a big tornado thing happen. It destroyed this town, and now it's trying to survive, getting out of this huge structure that has collapsed because of the tornado. And then that's the movie. It's the escape or whatever.
Yeah, make The Impossible, but with tornadoes.
Yeah.
Or, like, if you want to put it in the city because they're so rare, you have the tornado be 10 minutes of this movie, and then it's just like, okay, how do we get out of the city, or
out of the devastation,
or like what effect does a tornado have? Can a tornado even form in the middle of Manhattan?
Yeah.
And if it can, like, what would that look like? Because we haven't seen it, because it's always just been like,
except in Geostorm.
Like, I'm not fucking counting. I'm talking about make it a more. You can make it.
If you're trying to make it realistic, you can't have tornadoes in the city.
Well, no, it's like if the only unrealistic thing is this, probably the chance of this are near zero. But, like, I can buy into that. Just make the movie realistic. If it did happen, what would a tornado in the middle of New York City or wherever look like, versus just, look, it's a big open field with a tornado in it. Crazy.
Let's drive towards it or away from it.
It's hitting the small town of people we don't know or don't care about. Oh, shucks. Those poor folks.
Again, all the time. We got to get there. We got to help. They're either already dead, in a basement. There's nothing you can do to stop this tornado, even though that's kind of the whole thing of what you're trying to do. They're always just showing up late and like, no, go get your data. You're not doing anything that they don't already know. Yeah. So you can't do more of these. Like I suggested before. Next one is just Wet Twisters, and it's just a tornado on a lake, or it's just hurricanes, but we've seen that before. So this is a dead franchise. And
I still like Ghost Tornadoes.
Ghost Tornado, no one's going to follow up a sequel to this with Ghost Tornadoes and it actually be successful. If you're going to do more of these, it's just going to be the exact same thing because there's no other creative idea.
Yep.
And the action looks good. It looks fine. I'm sure a lot of work goes into the particle effects and everything to make them as realistic as possible. But we have really good effects in a lot of movies, and there's like nothing practical in this. The original Twister has a great scene where a house blows into the middle of the road and they have to drive through it, and they drive up the stairs of the house, and it's a really cool done in camera thing. Yeah, it's done multiple different ways with miniatures, bigatures, and a little bit of CG, but at least it feels tactile. And this is just looking at tennis balls going, oh my god. So yeah, fuck this movie. It's a C-, but I can still see it being on my worst of the year list.
So real quick before we wrap up, I don't remember if we talked about this. I haven't seen the original Twisters in forever.
Yeah.
I did not prep before seeing this movie by
neither
watching
did
the
I.
original. Okay, were there references to the original in this at all?
In this one, no.
Because
the only reference,
because movies like when they do sequels, especially these sequels, legacy sequels,
Yeah.
they're usually riddled with references. People are like, remember this old thing?
No,
I don't think any of that.
I will give them props for not making, because when she went home to visit her mom,
Yeah.
like, oh god, it's Helen Hunt, isn't it? It's gonna be it's not. That's interesting.
She walked out of the shadows like what was it? Fuck. Now I'm pulling you. I'm just imagining.
Ghoul?
No, like it's like a superhero thing where it doesn't matter. Okay, skip it. Cut around this. Yeah, she walked out of the shadows like she was gonna
Batman?
be. No, it's gonna hit me later, and I'm gonna be upset.
Okay.
But yeah, she just walks out of the shadows like it's gonna be someone we know, and it's just like, I mean, I know that actress.
I know that, yeah, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like,
And-
was
and
she in
like-
the original?
and
She wasn't.
her dad is not in the picture in this movie, and Bill Paxton is dead now, so he couldn't be in the movie. So it just seems almost like it was supposed to be Helen Hunt.
Yeah.
But the only reference I noticed was the little container was called Dorothy, and I think it was called Dorothy in the original as well.
Oh, okay.
But that,
Yeah.
and then they're doing pretty much the same thing: send something up and track it.
Yeah. I thought when Glenn Powell was doing his backstory, like, when was your first tornado?
Mhm.
It's like, I was 8. It was like, okay, Glenn Powell's probably, 35 or whatever.
Echo, how old is Glenn Powell?
No, but it doesn't matter. In this movie, it's like, I don't know if the time period lines up. It's like, was he 8?
Shut up!
IMDb News.
Echo, stop.
Curious.
I was talking. Like, was Glenn Powell's backstory, I was a kid and I was there when Bill Paxton and Helen, like that tornado that they dealt with, I was there. I thought that was kind of going to be what it was. But
what movie were they watching in this? They go to the theater and there was a movie playing, right? Was it like Frankenstein or something?
I don't recall.
Okay, because in the original Twister, the F5 comes and hits a drive-in theater, and they're watching The Shining during that. So there is that. I guess that could be a reference, is they're watching, or a tornado hits a movie theater of some kind. That would have been funny if the movie they were watching was Twister.
That would be very funny.
Especially if you just show a scene that has no tornado stuff, out of context, you would have no idea what that movie is. That would be funny.
Yeah, you know how sometimes, some damage will happen to a movie theater and the screen will be playing, or the projector will be playing on something that isn't the white screen.
Ooh, projecting onto the tornado?
Well, either that, but it'd be kind of fun to see some sort of thing where the tornado rips the back of the place off, and then you just see Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton's like, it's like they're still getting sucked into the tornado behind them somehow, but I don't know how that would work visually, but yeah, that'd be kind of a fun idea. But anyway, this movie is completely generic, feels almost AI generated to me. It's just, you just get two attractive people, and like anybody really could have played these roles, I think. I'm tired of talking about it. Right. So I'll say C- as well. I want to give it a D, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's competently made. No one does a bad job in the acting department.
Just uninspired all around.
So uninspired. And I even you caught me. I took like a little 17-second nap, at one point. I did close my eyes.
I don't know if I've ever seen you fall asleep in a movie before.
Oh, it happens ever since I hit 40, it happens a lot more. Especially when I have to get up and see a movie before I go into work because
Mm.
I'm, dead set on seeing something as early as possible. My roommate doesn't give a shit about it or whatever. I could be a little sleepy boy during those sometimes. Yeah.
I let you sleep. I wasn't gonna wake you. I
No,
was just
always
like,
wake me. Always wake me.
I was just like, yeah, I get it, man. At this point, you're not missing anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, next week you're out of town. I'm out of town. It's Deadpool Wolverine. I guess we'll just have to skip it. We'll
Yeah, the
go.
worst week for me to be out of town.
I know, but it's fine. We'll watch it, and then next weekend, the weekend after that, I believe is Trap. It's Trap and something else.
Oh, we got a good couple weeks coming.
Yeah, and then
Although the more I think about Trap, the more I think it's gonna suck.
yeah, probably. And then a week after Trap, there was something. It's like, ooh, I want to see that too. And then it's Alien. So we got a good couple of weeks coming. So no new episode next week. We'll have a pretty big episode probably with those two movies, and then we got to do our year 3 media brackets. Coming a little late,
Woo!
but it may be a bit smaller than some of the other ones because we have less episodes this year and a lot less things that we both consume. So we'll just have to see. If you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Threads. Hit us up. What do you want to see get sucked up in a tornado? Ghosts? An animal? A big box of nails? What would make a cool tornado movie? As always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
And keep consuming.